Good morning, students. Okay, students, so we will continue the revision of the chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. Various headings yesterday we have completed, and now we will continue the same chapter revision with the heading, and it was the romantic imagination and national feeling. We have talked about the age of revolution up to the yesterday, that how the revolution take place during 1830 to 1848, and now we are talking about the romantic imagination and the national feelings. The chapter is the rise of nationalism in India. Okay. Sorry, in Europe. Okay, Europe. The rise of nationalism in Europe, and the next heading is the romanticism. The romanticism and the idea of and national feelings. National feelings. Okay, can anybody tell me, as we are revising the chapter, that in this chapter, the rise of nationalism in Europe, what is it means? The romanticism and the national feeling. When we study the chapter, then we come to the idea that how the artistic section, it means poet, author, philosopher, artist, painters, wanted to spread the idea of nationalism about the separate democratic independent nation among the various parts of Europe with the help of their own creative work, as poets thought that they have to develop the poems in the regional dialects. There is a difference between language and dialects. Yes or no? Gadwali is a language or dialect? Dialect. Boli. It is a dialect. Okay. So, if it will be very easy that if we know the English, we know Hindi very well, but our old age person who are not so much educated, but if we translate the history chapter in the regional dialect, then they will understand. Yes, definitely. Because they know their regional dialect. They know Gadwali, they know Nepali, they know Gorkhali, they know Jaunsari. Yes or no? So it is the importance of vernacular language and the regional dialect. So what all the artistic people, painter, poet, philosopher, authors, they decided that in Europe, if we want to circulate the idea of nationalism or the national feeling, we have to create the stories which is based on to spread the idea of national feelings. Okay? And it should be in folk culture, means regional dialects, so that it will be understood by the illiterate, by the non-educated people also. Because we cannot say, if we trace the history, there is not anywhere has mentioned that educated people suffered a lot, educated people suffered a lot in the to establish the nationalism feeling. Every sort of people have given their sacrifice. Yes or no? So here, the people who are not literate, who are not educated, also important. So how they will be having the idea of nationalism? If the poems, if the story, if the folk tales, folk stories, folk songs, folk dances will be on the idea of nationalism and within their own dialect, then illiterate people can also understand. So this was the idea of all the romanticism and the romantic movement in the Europe, okay, in late 18th and the first half of the 19th century. And when we say that, you can say here, all the romantic poets, philosophers wanted to spread the idea of is necessary to understand. And we used to say word romance. It is the love. When we are associating this romanticism with our motherland, it is the patriotic feeling. Deshbhakti. Getting my point? So it is very necessary to understand the meaning of the word here. That the patriotic feeling towards the nation, that we all people either or we belong to the different cultural background. We are different on the basis of sex. We are male and female. We are boy or girl. But still, one basic thing is that these European people belong to the same motherland. As we know, our motherland as Bharat Mata. We all are the children of Bharat Mata. Yes or no? After that, we are having our own parents. First of all, our identity is that we belong to the same collective identity, that we all are Indian. So this is the romance. This is all about the romanticism with our motherland, that we want to call ourselves as the children of Bharat Mata. So this thing you have to understand here. So what is all about the romanticism here? ठीक है? ये बहुत जरूरी है. But you have to be enough. You have to be enough to, you can say, sincere and the mature. कि ये वर्ड जो है इसका बेसिकली मीन क्या है मैम यहाँ पे. ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे जो मीन है रोमांटिसिज्म का, या रोमांटिसिज्म डेवलप्ड एज अ मूवमेंट in Europe. It is all about that through the various poetry, songs, dance, tales, drama, literature, all these people try to give the idea to all set of the people of Europe that they have to remember that they have to fight against the monarchy system, against any autocratic rule, and they have to struggle. That why should they have to be discriminated? They all are equal, and such type of love, affection, because it happens during the 26th January and 15 August, that whenever we, and even whenever we see the movie which is full of our Indian sacrificer, there are so many movies. Uri was one of them. That during that movie, our all how we feel, entire body, huh? Feel क्या है अभी? रोंगटे कैसे खड़े होते हैं? Why it happens? Because we belong to the same motherland. This is a romanticism. This is the love and affection that we see on a picture, on a movie, that how our army personnel and our freedom fighters have sacrificed their life, and that scene create a certain type of feeling in our heart and in our body. Sometimes the tears in our eyes. What is all about? That is the real love of a single individual of India towards their nation. ये वही है, ये उसी को कहते हैं रोमांटिसिज्म. Understood? And it is obvious. It is obvious. Now that it has started, when we see this chapter and this heading, two names are very important. First is that John Gottfried Herder. John Gottfried Herder. Okay. Who is he? He was a philosopher of German, and he used to believe, it is page number 14. He used to believe that if we want to communicate about the feeling of nationalism in German, and if we want to preserve the identity, independent nation identity, if we want to preserve the cultural heritage of German, then we have to circulate the idea of national identity with the help of folk culture. It means folk dance, folk story, folk culture should be popularized and motivated, and it will be motivated only if we having the content which is related to the nationalism in their particular dialects, in vernacular language. That's why there is a word Das Volk. It is related to him. It means that he emphasized that the common mass of German should be motivated to preserve their local and the cultural heritage. Only then they can be understood the feeling of romanticism, feeling of patriotism towards their own identity, and they all people of German will be having the feeling of collective identity. What is all about collective identity? it is all about a collective identity. And as a human being also, it is okay that we cannot trust anybody. But it is also true that at least we can behave like a human being with others as we want that the people will behave with us. Is it true? That much we can do now. Okay. So this then you will not forget that John Gottfried Herder and he believed in the idea of Das Hof. It means that the common people of Germany should preserve their cultural heritage, and it will be helpful only when they will study their own cultural dialect and the idea of nationalism in their own regional dialect or language. Understood? Now the another name. The another name in this is Carol. Another name is Carol. And what? According to him, he is also wanted to circulate the idea of national feeling among the European states in Poland with the help of folk dance and music. That's why he has turned the folk dances like Polonaise and Mazurka. These two dance forms, Polonaise and Mazurka. Okay? These two dance forms which was turned by the Carol in Poland to make the people understood that how we all are belong to the same collective identity, to motivate them. And on the Republic Day, 26th January, what we do? We have organized speeches that how we have became a republic nation. Okay, we organized dances which was full of patriotic feeling. Okay, on 15 August we also organized some cultural event, and the theme is all about the freedom struggle and the achievement of India. The theme remains same with the help of various dances and the poetry and the songs. Why there is a need to celebrate these events? Even we are now to spend the 50 years of our independence, then where there is a need to celebrate them again and again. Can anybody tell me? Why we celebrate our national days? Tell me. Why? What is the purpose? You all are the 10th class students. What is the purpose? Why generation to generation? And every year we will celebrate in our lifelong process. What? Can anybody tell me? What is the reason? What is the reason behind it? What is the reason? You are 10th class student. There is always a reason behind any action. You believe it or not? So what is the reason?
To remember the struggle that the nationalism or the national people had for our country, and to
sit down. The basic idea that you know that this year you are in 10th, then after 2 years you will pass out. Okay, from here. So this is the academic career of your age, class 1st to 12th. That where more and more you can be aware about your all the achievement, all the freedom which how it has achieved by the people, and it should be compulsory to educate the youth about their own freedom struggle and own cultural heritage. It is also your cultural heritage that how India has become an independent nation on 1947, how it has become possible. So that's why there is a great significance to celebrate any type of national event in any type of nation around the world. It is necessary so that the upcoming generation will be informed about their history, about the achievement, about their failure. Everything is necessary. That's why we are having the history chapter, not only regarding your own country but about the other personal interest. SST belongs to that set of subject. It is not merely a subject. It is all about your character development as a responsible citizen of the nation. Getting my point? That's why you have to keep this in your mind. Now, the another is Carol. He has discovered, he has turned the dance form in Polonaise and Mazurka, and both dance forms having the idea of national feeling, where the people can associate with their culture and easily understood the idea of national feelings. Okay, within one song which is so patriotic, okay, which is composed by our own musician in India, we come to know the whole picture in a song. 5-minute song, you come to know about the whole story of Indian struggle. You remember the name of the freedom fighters if the song is heavy within 5 minutes. Why? If you study the chapter, it will take more time. It is the beauty of your folk culture and the folk song or the dance that it gives us very easy way to understand and to learn. And here there is no need that one should be literate, one should be educated. If it is in own regional dialect. That's why it is so important. The romanticism and romantic movement. Okay? And you will not forget the name of Carol, and another is Herder. How they had transmitted the idea of national feeling with the help of folk culture. Okay? Now, the another important thing in this chapter, hunger, hardship and popular reward. Okay. The another important heading of this chapter is hunger, hardship and popular reward. Both situations are connected to each other. Now, next heading is hunger, hardships and popular reward. Popular reward. We are studying the rise of nationalism in Europe. If we are talking about Europe, it means we are talking about Germany, Austria, Hungary, Prussia and Poland and Britain. We are talking about these nations. Remember. Okay? Yes. Now, hunger. Now read once again. That hunger, you know the meaning of hunger. Hardships, challenges, hardships. And then popular rewards. It means under this head, only after reading the heading, we can analyze the idea of the content. That it means if there is a hunger is a challenge that where the people is not having sufficient food to satisfy their basic need. They are not able to earn their livelihood. They are not having any means to eat anything, okay? To eat anything so that they and their family member will not hunger. But there is a situation of hunger. It means there is a crisis of food. Hardship. If there is a crisis or unavailability of food, basic food items to the people, what will be the result? The result, they will face the hardships, challenges, katnai. And if the situation will remain for so many years the same, the food crisis, unemployment, then what will be the result? What will happen? Revolts. As if the population is so much in a country and the youth is not having the employment, there may be the various reasons. Okay? What will be there? There will be a revolt. That definitely. So, in this heading, when my purpose to tell you that what is all about the revision. Revision is always take very less time. That's why it is revision. So, when you are reading the headings, then the idea of the content should be highlighted in your mind, because you have given so much of time to your books and your video and your lecture. And I think that if you are studying at home, so there should be a very less time taken by you for the revision. Okay. Now that up to the 1830, there was a, now you will remember the year 1830. In European history, it was the year of availability. Why? Because up to the first half, the reason behind it, the reason of this economic hardships in 1830 in European state was first half of the 19th century. First half of the 19th century, the population of Europe increased enormously. It means unlimitedly. And you know that if we are facing unemployment, if we are facing lack of job opportunity, lack of education, and if we are lagging behind in availability of the basic amenities, food, health, shelter, who will be responsible? Directly government? No. We who are increasing the population. Why shouldn't we control the population? The resources will, at the same time, if we control our population, the resources, whatever will be available, they will be balanced. But the main issue is that the controlling of population. And in the history, 1830, the same challenge was there, that first 50 years, first half of the 19th century, it means the first 50 years, I'm talking about 1 year, not 30 years continuously in Europe, the population was increasing unlimitedly. Breaking the record. There is no control over the population growth in Europe. And if there is no control over the population growth in Europe in 1830, what will happen? Situation will be, but because the resources are not developing at the same pace now. Getting my point? In a family, you are 6 members. Okay? And in a family, there are 4 members or 3 members. And in a 4 members family, both are earning. They will face the situation, they will cope up the situation, whatever the, you can say, issue regarding their economic activity. But if in a family who are 6 or 11 members and there are only 2 who is earning, then what will be the situation? Definitely you can imagine. So that's why that in 1830 when the population was increasing unlimitedly in Europe, now the challenges occurred in front of the common people that there is no availability of job. Okay? And if there is no availability of job, that now what had happened? Population from rural area. Yes, now what had happened? One more change that when there is no advancement to work in a rural area, what they will do? Rural people migrated. The result of it, rural people migrated from village to city area. And nowadays also, if we are passing MBA, if we are after completing our professional degree, we supposed to go to the Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore. And for the IT professional, we used to go in Bangalore. Okay, so because here these are the metropolitan areas where there is so much of a scope to get the good job, to get the training, it will be so much updated. Okay, so that's why that in 1830 when there is an economic crisis, then the rural people now they are not having the proper agricultural outputs and the seeds or the so many things which is necessary to do any agricultural activity, they started to migrate in search of, because anyhow they have to survive. Yes or no? What used to your people to say you that study hard, otherwise do some work to earn something. Yes. And they are right. Because the essence of life is that you are coming to school to get education, then you will do any professional degree, just only economically independent. Yes or no? To be economically independent so that you can earn good something in your life. Only then you can survive. So at the same time that in 1830 the rural people of European state used to move in a very large number to the city area, and the result of that, the city area is so much populated. City area so much populated that there is another hardship was there, that if somebody get infected of disease, the infectional diseases also in a very speedy manner spread all over the countryside, or you can say or the town side. All are the adverse effect of the thickly populated urban areas during the 1830 in European state. We will continue it tomorrow with the portion